Hello, dear Dhamma friends. This is Venerable Nissarano, and I'm recording this at Newbury Buddhist Monastery outside Melbourne in Victoria, Australia. And I'm looking forward very much to coming to Sri Lanka next year, next month actually, 4 or 5 weeks from the 26th of January. So hasn't 2022 been a terrible year for Sri Lanka? And thank goodness it's over. Because of all the economic problems that have led to incredible inflation, which has made life so expensive and difficult for even the basic necessities, as well as medicines and food shortages. And of course, big sections of Sri Lanka's population are struggling just to live and to eat. And this has also, of course, fueled the political upheaval which led to the fall of the previous government. So things are fairly unstable at the moment. And of course there's COVID is still continuing, isn't it? And this all reminds me very much of the causes, the conditions for the Lord Buddha giving the Ratana Sutta, which was when Visali was stricken by famine, plague, and also by bad spirits, maybe yakas, something like that. And at the end of this message, I will chant some of the verses from the Ratana Sutta, and hopefully that will help lead to good results too. And we can, as I said before, we can celebrate that 2022 is over, and hope that 2023 is much better. Really, it can't be much worse, I feel. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same. But the new year is always a good time to reflect, stop and reflect really, on the year that has passed and what we learnt from that experience, difficult as it was, and also to focus on what is essential for the new year, 2023. What are our priorities for the new year? And so I'd like to focus on a teaching from the Dhammapada by the Lord Buddha on what is really essential. And of course you probably know these two verses, 11 and 12, from the Dhammapada. But I'll focus mainly on the second one, but I'll read both. Those who regard what is not essential as essential, and what is essential as not essential, dwelling in such fields of wrong intention, they never realize what is the essential. But those who know what is essential as essential and what is not essential as not essential, dwelling in fields of right intention, they realize what is the essential. And of course, what's the most essential or important thing at the moment now, while you're watching this message? And we overlook it quite often. It's the breath we're breathing in and out, and without which we would soon be, the body would be lifeless and the mind will move on to a new life. We're often caught up in thinking, and so we don't realize some of the really vital or important, essential things in our lives. And what is the next essential thing that we have that we often overlook? And of course it's time, just now, and having time. We live our lives as if we're here forever, don't we? And of course the Four Noble Truths explain, don't they? The Four Noble Truths focus on this human experience of birth, old age, sickness and death. It's our predicament, as my grandmother said, predicament. This old age, sickness and death. And we do our very best to ignore this. But of course, this is something we can learn from. And of course, the other thing that's essential, particularly in Sri Lanka at the moment, are the basic necessities of life for many people. And that, of course, is food, clothing, shelter and medicine, so that the body can survive, so it can continue to be a vehicle for our minds. So what's really essential for us to be human, to be truly human? And of course it's to be a good person. And this is a person who's ethical, who keeps the 5 precepts, who doesn't harm others. And of course, the other aspect of it is being a generous person. And this opens the heart and is an important part of the Buddha's path. And being a caring person, this is like compassion, isn't it? And developing all the good inner qualities. This is the area of Samma Sankappa, second factor of the Noble Eightfold Path. And this, of course, is kindness, friendliness, using compassion, acceptance, tolerance, contentment, and gratitude. Developing those, making a lot of them. And of course, the other thing that we can do is become be a wise person. And a wise person is a great gift to themselves and to others, aren't they? Because if they're wise, they understand what's really good and what's not good. And also they know where happiness really lies, which is within each of us. So this is what a wise person can focus on. And of course they will develop the mind through the spiritual path, looking inward, isn't it? And developing serenity or calm meditation, and then developing insight into life. And seeing the nature of reality. This is the aim of insight, seeing the nature of reality. And of course, we have to develop wholesome or positive relationships. This is part of really being a human being, a good human being. And one of the big areas for all of us is our views, isn't it? Not holding on to our views too tightly. This is what Ajahn Chah recommended, because sometimes we have these views that are political views, aren't they? Religious views, racial views, views about gender, etc. And we can sometimes, when we hold very tightly to them, forget other people are like ourselves. And this can cause division, and it can cause division within ourselves sometimes, with others for sure, and in our society. And I think you're seeing quite a bit of this in Sri Lanka. But when we hold our views lightly, if we don't hold them tightly and insist on our way, and this is right, and this is true. When we don't hold views tightly, we can create harmony for ourselves and for others. Understanding the way they see the world is the way they see the world, according to the way they've developed their mind, and very much according to how they develop their mind. So where should we start to develop these essential things? Of course, one of the big things is taking time to stop, because when we take time to stop, we can see what's going on. We can see what we need to do. And of course, this means devoting more time to meditation, to contemplation, and to study as well. And when we develop the meditation, we're really reconditioning our negative habits of mind, aren't we? And developing these good habits of mind. And other ways we can do it is, of course, attending meditation retreats. And I'll be having one in Costco in February, I think. And having self-retreats when we have the time. And spending time on our own is always very good, because we can see what's going on in our lives, in our minds. And spending time in nature is always good. But one of the important areas we shouldn't overlook, can't stress enough really, is using our speech and our actions to develop good qualities, like being caring and generous. And there's many opportunities in Sri Lanka at the moment, with many people in dire straits, they say, and developing things like patience as well. So there are many good qualities that we can develop, not only on the cushion. That's a reconditioning process really for us, but through our also through our speech and action. So Lord Buddha always emphasized these 3 aspects to developing these good qualities, especially metta and the Brahma Viharas. So in conclusion, let's work on developing our humanness, our humanity, by taking time to stop and developing our inner resources, becoming better human beings, becoming kinder in 2023, more caring, clinging less to our views or what we think is right, and also in the process making a contribution to our family, to our relationships, our families, and to our society, and to Sri Lanka too. Because when we develop these good qualities, we will not make things worse. We'll bring a positive energy to whatever we are dealing with. So I'd like to wish you all a good, happy new year, a new year of becoming even better people, better persons. And I'd like to now chant the Ratana Sutta and to dedicate the merit after that. So please join in if you know the chanting. Yang Ginchi Ratanang Loke Vinchati Vividha Putu Ratanang Buddha Samang Nati Tasma Soti Bhavantu Te. Now the Ratana Sutta. Yang Kinchi Vitang Idava Hurangva Sangye Suva Yang Ratanang Parnitang Nano Samang Atitatagatena Idam Pibunde Ratanang Parnitam Etena Sachena Suati Hotu Kayang Viragang Amatang Panitam Yanda Jagat Sakyamuni Samahito Natena Dhammena Samati Kinchi Idam Pidam Me Ratanang Parnitam Etena Sachena Suati Hotu Yam Buddha Seto Parivanai Suching Samadhi Manantari Kanyamahu Samadhi Natena Samona Vinjati Idam Pidam Me Ratanang Parnitam Etena Sachena Suati Hotu Ye Pugala Atra Satang Pasata Chattari Etani Yugani Honti Te Dakineya Sugata Sasawaka Ete Sudinani Mahapalani Idam Pisange Ratanang Parnitam Etena Sanchena Suati Hotu Yesu Payuta Manasa Dalhena Nikamino Gotamasa Sanami Te Patipata Amatang Vigaya Ladha Mudhani Bhuting Bonjamana Nidam Pisange Ratanang Parnitam Etena Sanchena Suvati Hotu Kinang Puranang Nawang Nati Sambhavang Virata Chita Ayatike Bhavasmin Te Kina Bija Avirul Hichanda Nibanti Dira Yatayang Padipo Idam Pisange Ratanang Parnitang Etena Sachena Suvati Hotu Etavata Chamhehi Sambatang Punya Sampadang Sambe Deva Anumodantu Samba Sampati Sindhya Etavata Chamhehi Sambatang Punya Sampadang Sambe Buddha Anumodantu Samba Sampati Sindhya Etavata Chamhehi Sambatang Punya Sampadang Sambe satta anumodantu Samba sampati sindhya akasata chabumata devanaga mahindika punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakantu sasanang akasata chabumata devanaga mahindika Punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakantu desanang akasata chabumata devanaga mahindika punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakantu mang paranti Idang me nyatinang hontu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hontu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hontu sukita hontu nyatayo. May you abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from hostility, and may you maintain well-being in yourselves. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. So wishing you a much, much better 2023 from Venerable Nissarano. And see you soon.